If someone brake checks you or you brake check someone else, who's liable in that claim? This is a major question and there's not a perfect answer. Let's dive in and go over the scenario. First asterisk is I am not a lawyer. I cannot give you legal advice, but a lot of the research I did was from lawyers and they really just dove in heavily. I've come across this a few times in my career and it's fairly rare that it actually happens, but it does happen. Sally's driving her car and somebody gets on the on-ramp and then brakes. All of a sudden, Sally hits that person and they couldn't stop fast enough. Technically, the person that hits the person in front of them is at fault. The reason Sally's at fault is because she didn't have enough clear distance. Now, there is some clauses that legally change up what we're talking about. If you have a car that has enough speed to pass you or come onto an on-ramp, then you have enough distance where they're going fast enough for you to let them have space. If that's the case and they stop fast, you should have enough room to allow them to do that. That means you're tailgating them and following too closely. That's typically the most common one that you're going to see people talk about where it's just not covered in your favor. The other version is Billy Bob is in road rage mode. He just hates the fact that you accidentally cut them off. And it's happened to me probably more than I should admit. And it's something where you're chasing each other a little bit. You shouldn't be doing that ever. But in my younger teenage years, that was the life that we lived with our little sports cars and whatnot. It was really just a Honda or a Toyota Celica that we thought was super cool and super fast. 120 horsepower was a lot for a kid. Yes, I know that ages me, and if you put a racing clutch in 120 horsepower, you can get that thing to go. You can get up to whatever, that's the thing. So you're chasing each other, you've got road rage, the guy is out with their camera videoing you because you're about to run each other off the road, and they brake check you. You hit that person. Now in most states, just so you're aware, brake checking, one, is illegal in 50 of the states. So brake checking, one, is where you have the right of way to say, hey, this was road rage, this is something that was negligent on both parties, especially if you're chasing them. Let's reverse the roles here and just say you're driving normal, same scenario, someone comes down the road, they cut you off, you pass them, then they pass you. It's not necessarily road rage, but it's like one up in each other, and that person decides they're gonna brake check you. Same scenario, if they brake check you and you hit their vehicle, most likely they're at fault, especially if they let the police officer know that they purposely brake checked you. It is illegal to do, and if that happens, then you technically could be covered in that scenario. However, in a lot of states, there's shared fault and partial fault. Whenever one person has 1% of fault, it doesn't just fall on the person that was the one at fault. So if you both had any portion of it where you were going too close, they were stopping on purpose to hit you, and now everyone's kind of 50-50. Some insurance companies will split that and do a 50-50 fault to where you pay some and they pay some and everybody looks like an idiot at the end of the day. So how do you get out of this? Well, there's only a few scenarios where this actually makes sense, but if you have a dash cam and you can show proof that they were negligent, that they were breaking the law, that there was no reason for an emergency stop, in most cases, the police and your insurance will likely side on your side. The other part that you got to think about is this. It's not always just who's the right and who's the wrong. Insurance companies have the ability to choose what they pay. In a lot of cases, the insurance company will choose to pay the claim even when you're the one that wasn't in the full fault. The reason they do this is because it costs tens of 20s, if not 30s, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to dispute this in a court. We all know that when the lawyers get involved, there's fees and it gets really expensive. So for insurance companies, they may not want to take that battle to fight off that portion. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to get a ticket or anything like that. That just means that the insurance may pay the claim out, and you're going to be the one also sharing that fault with your insurance company. Unfortunately for you, if that is the case, that's part of you signing that policy is they have the right to choose what they pay and how they pay it and how it's claimed. They're not legally stating you as a neglectful driver, but they have the ability to avoid paying more out for a claim by just paying the claim itself. Do be careful, there's a small asterisk. Some states, like I said, there's a 1%. If you have 1% involvement, that actually can deny you from being paid out in a claim, meaning that you can't recover damages for that issue because you're now negligent in the same boat as the person that was causing the issue. Hopefully this clears up the issue of if I'm brake checking someone. I know it gets a little complicated because there are so many different scenarios. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Was there a scenario that you've been in that was different than the ones we talked about? I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I'll see you in the next one.